Alright, for the first tip that we're going to be going over is if you're having a hard time capturing pals or you're having a hard time getting spears, simply head over to another region, and within those other regions you'll find pal spears on the ground. Just keep in mind when you go to these regions, you don't have to invest into taking down pals, just simply pick up the spears and then go back to your previous region to give yourself a bigger boost so you can actually capture pals. And the other thing is, if you actually run into any of these Mimogs, these are very cool pals that actually are very beneficial. If you swap to them and open chests that are locked behind keys, these will essentially give you free keys every once in a while, so these are very valuable to have if you're someone who explore around the map. And generally picking up chests in these other regions are actually pretty good. You can see here I was able to get some extra pal spears, super nice. For the second tip, and arguably the most important, come over here to your options, go to your game settings, then go to your keyboard. Under your keyboard you're going to change this setting, the single button press for hold interaction, to on. What this does is, instead of having to actually hold the button down, as you can see here, is actively just doing it itself. I'm not holding the button. This will make your life infinitely easier since you don't really have to hold down the button. The other thing is, if you like auto running, simply press the X key and this is going to make it easier for you to just do the auto run. This works for flying as well. This is a really good one because a lot of times you want to just alt tab out, and this can be very helpful. Alright, for my next tip, we're going to be looking at two incredible pals for exploration in the overworld. First is going to be Bronze Cherry. What this pal does is whenever you pick up an egg, you have a 35% chance of making it a alpha egg. And then we have Grintail. Picking up an egg has a 50% chance of receiving one extra egg. So if you're someone who likes to explore in the overworld a lot, like myself, as probably a lot of you will do, you have these two equipped, and whenever you pick up an egg, you have a chance of upgrading and possibly getting a second one. As you can see on screen now, my large egg became a legendary large egg, and I also got two of them, which makes it so I get significantly more out of my exploration. And now whenever I come back to base to open up these things, I will have access to probably getting some really awesome pals, which is super nice for progression. Now, in order to find Bronze Cherry, as you can see, they spawn pretty much in the major zones where you're going to be starting anyway, so just look for them. You can easily get these with Mega Spheres, which you saw me do on screen a second ago. And for Grintail, this one is said to be spawned up here, which is a little bit annoying. You don't actually have to go all the way up there. Simply, as you can see here, looking at my map, any of these caves that I have marked on the map, you can easily go to and get them. I'll show you another area with them marked on the map. Here's another cave here, and here. These are all locations you should go to. Take a screenshot of this map and then go hit those places. Next, let's talk about some early game capturing tips and things that's super important to keep in mind when you're capturing pals. The first and the obvious is you need to capture 5 to get the added bonus of having 5 different individual pals. Make sure you capture 5. That's going to give you a pretty big bonus. When it comes to capturing pals, there's a few things to keep in mind specifically though. When you get them to lower HP, you'll have a higher chance of doing so. I'm a little higher level in this example, so I can't really hit them. I'll kill them instantly, but that'll give you a higher chance of actually getting it. The second thing to keep in mind is there is a back multiplier as well as a headshot multiplier. If you are able to throw it and hit them in the head, or you hit them in the back, as you can see me do on screen now, you have a higher chance of actually getting the pals. So make sure you're doing that because that's going to help you out in a very big way. The other thing that you have to keep in mind, and this one's super important that a lot of people don't know, the Noct versions of these pals will actually be able to work throughout the night. I have a Blaze Howl, which is a little bit of a higher level one, but there are plenty other lower level pals that will be only out at night. So make sure you're going out to see if you find any Noct version of these guys, as they will literally work throughout the entire night, and this will increase your base efficiency. They are very good pals to have. Another building to keep in mind is the pal condensation, and this is super good because it's going to make your pals even better pals. So as you can see here, we got this pal here that is actually a boss pal, and we're going to condense it into this one, and this is going to give it another star, and this star is going to just raise the stats of this pal. So when you actually eventually find pals that are super powerful, you can condense the other like crappy ones into this super good one, so you can have even better pals. You're going to already be farming anyway, so you want to go ahead and do this to improve their stats overall. All right, for my next tip, as you can probably tell, my inventory is filled with an immaculate amount of garbage, and going through these chests are going to take forever to do. If you go to your inventory, you press the R key. This is the easy bulk storage. This will basically put everything in place where you need to be, as long as you're within the base range, as long as you already have it pre-organized. So we're going to click stow, and as you can see here, it already knows where to put this because I already have chests with this, and boom, just like that, all the extra garbage in my inventory is being stowed into them. Now obviously everything didn't get moved, so you want to make sure you have at least one of everything in them. So this didn't get moved. We don't have any more flowers, so that didn't get moved. But eventually, when you get your boxes set up to where you have everything you need inside of them, they will eventually get stowed in their right places, and your inventory just becomes so much nicer. All right, next let's go over stat allocation, because this is important. First and foremost, weight is the most important stat to invest into, as this is going to be something you need for just getting your items, gathering. Everything you're going to need is revolved around weight. Weight is pound for pound the most important stat, so that's what you want to invest into. Your secondary stats are going to be stamina as well as health. These are very good stat locations, so these are going to be good. I would prioritize health, stamina if I'm doing a lot of exploration on ground, but generally health is going to keep you alive. Work speed, defense, attack, these things are not very valuable. Defense is, but you can only get that from gear, but work speed is a massive bait. You don't really need it. It's going to be pals that's going to be doing a lot of the work early anyway, so having a few points in this doesn't really do too much, because you'll have pals within a few minutes of playing the game. Attack doesn't scale particularly well, but yeah, you could in theory put some points into this maybe later on. Now the other thing to keep in mind is you should be doing dungeons, because dungeons have the ability to drop these potions. These are different variety of potions that can give you different stats. This one's a burden potion. This would give me in theory 50 to weight, I believe, depending on the rarity, which can be better depending on which region you go into dungeons. I don't need this anymore because I already maxed out my weight, because it's the most important stat in my opinion. But go ahead and do those dungeons, because not only you'll have access to pals, but you have access to getting these at the end, which are super good for your progression. All right, next let's go over base location that I think is the best and one you should be aiming to go to first in my opinion, because it sets you up really nice. And this is the one you see me walking at right now. I'm gonna give you the location, then we'll go over it. It is 34-49. This is still within the starter zone, but a little bit to the north of it. But it sets you up, in my opinion, to be in best position to get access to everything, as it is centralized. Now, if we look at what's here, this is going to have plenty of ore here, which is super nice. This is also going to give you quartz, which is also nice. You have this valley here that has access to a ton of like eggs, which is going to be good for your egg stuff. And then you're close to a lot of different like biomes. The biomes over there, you got the ice biome over here, the lava biome like over the mountain over there, and then the sand biome here where you can go get the turtles. Generally speaking, it is just in position that are super great. And though you may not have coal, you can easily just build the coal thing and put it down, and you don't really have to worry about any of the other ones, as this will just basically spawn all the resources you need to set yourself up. And there's even a skill tree here, so it's super nice. You can even get reliable skill trees and stuff, so it's really good. All right, next let's go over a handful of base pals that I think are super important to keep in mind and you should have in your base. The first pal you should keep in your base is Vixie. What Vixie does is it will sometimes dig up things from the ground, and what that is early game pal spears, arrows, gold, and fiber. Fiber is super annoying to get in my personal opinion, and pal spears is not necessarily hard, but to have them available so you can capture these like lower level pals are super good. So Vixie, super mandatory, very good pal to have. The other pal to keep in mind is Lulu, I believe that name of the pal, and it will make it so that it increases the growth rate of your crops by 50%, which is absolutely insane. This is what I typically have in my lineup. We're gonna do like a base setup thing just to give you an idea, but as you can see here, going over my food, I am always over full on food even when I'm cooking, because of the yield is insane. The other pal you want to have is also Prunlia, which will increase their harvest by 18%. This again with the 18% yield and the harvest increase is going to give you an insane amounts of yield. These two are a little bit harder to get to, but you want to get these early as you can to really maintain your base. And always keep in mind, when you have pals like Ruby, Sparkit, and there's a few other ones, you can always get those early game organs if you put them in the grazing location, so you want to make sure you have that. Obviously the chickens as well as the cows, they're going to give you access to milk and eggs, and then the alpacas or the sheep are going to give you access to wool. Those are some of the more important passive base pals you need for the early game. All right, finally, I'm going to give you guys a step-by-step base tutorial on what I think is best if you are, let's say for example, you have 7 pals and you need, to cover pretty much all your bases, what you can use and I think would be really great. So the first is going to be Bristilla. She gives you access to 2 planting, 2 gathering. She can help you with handicrafting. She help you with medicine and moving. She's going to be very good for that. The other ones is going to be Bee Guard. I would actually go with 2 Bee Guards, as they will give you good coverage on pretty much everything. I would also get a Pin King. Pin King is super easy to find. Pin King is like located here in this area, so grabbing Pin King is super easy, and then the bees are located in this area as well. So you want to go ahead and go grab the bees there. The other ones is going to be Ruby and Sparket for the reason we talked about organs, but they also have similar stats to other pals in this like rarity or this tier, where they can actually do your fire or your electricity. So you get kind of 2 pals out of 1 with these. And then I would get a Chillet, which will help you with pretty much any form of cooling if you need it. And with these 7 pals, you're actually able to run your whole base absolutely no problem. Now I'm going to show you how to assign them because that's just as important as well. I typically will keep it relaxed or normal, you know, either works. But typically I actually keep it on relax most of the time. For this video, we're going to keep it on normal though. How we're going to have the monitoring stand set up is Bristilla will have hypothetically her seeding, and she'll be doing the gathering and defending, of course. The bee guard, one of the bee guards will be doing very much the similar stats, except for they will be helping us with the handicrafting. But keep in mind, the Bristilla can handle most of your planting needs. This is just kind of a filler to help you out a little bit. Pinking will easily be able to handle all the watering needs that you need early on, and then you have him float around as a like a carrier to kind of help you keep the base organized. Ruby will be purely on doing kindling. Sparky will be purely on electricity in the event that you have electricity this early, but it may not be. Chillet will be purely on anything related to just keeping the base chill, and then you have the bee guard pretty much floating around doing all the other tasks just to kind of help you out. For the most part, 2 bee guards is more than enough to cover most things, but this is how I personally set up my base just so I can have it functional, the baseline functionality. Alright guys, and there you have it. Those are some really solid starter tips that I think should help you out in a very big way. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns on progression or anything like that, or you have a request for any style video, let me know down in the comments and I will do my best to get a video out for you or answer your questions. If you have anything you want to add, feel free to leave it in the comments as well to help other players out. If you enjoy the work that goes into these videos, make sure to drop a like, or even better yet, subscribe. That helps me in a very big way. And just like that, trainers, I'll see you in the next video very soon.